So first of all, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, my name is Gabriel Ramirez. I'm the Title IX coordinator here at UTEP.
Awesome. So this is one of our episodes of the CARE podcast, the CAREcast.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kicking it off here with Title IX. We're going to start off by asking, how long have you been working with your department?
So I've been here at UTEP 4 years now.
4 years. And what is your favorite part of your job role?
I think the favorite part of my job is being able to offer individual support and also working with different departments across campus to make that happen.
Can you talk to us about the work you do when supporting the UTEP community?
So we do a lot of things that relate to support. When somebody comes and reports something to our office, we always reach out to the person who's reported as the victim to try to set up a meeting with them to let them know about resources and support and rights and options that individual may have. And so that's a big part of what we do. We receive many reports per month. And so we are constantly reaching out to individuals to try to get them that information in hopes that they may seek out those resources and that they also become aware of what their rights are. And that way they're familiar with what they can do. So that's a big part of what we do. We also collaborate with lots of different departments, sometimes related to support. We do work occasionally with CARE, at times student affairs we work pretty frequently with, sometimes athletics. And sometimes our role is to provide guidance as it relates to, like federal and state laws and things like that. So we're here to support departments in that way. We also, trying to think ahead, another thought. So we provide support in terms of collaborating with these different departments and providing guidance. There was another thing, maybe I'll think of it later on in the interview. I lost track in my own head, but we try to be, what I was going to say and I'm going to say is that we do also provide support to faculty and staff as it relates to reporting, for instance. So there's some really strict reporting obligations that employees or faculty and staff have. And so we try to be a resource for them to help guide them when they do receive, these very, serious reports and, how can they address it?
Mm-hmm.
What do they need to report and things like that.
Awesome. So why is Sexual Awareness Month important for you and your department with what you do?
So, Sexual Assault Awareness Month, like the other awareness months, they're very important. They are trying to, bring these issues to light, to connect individuals to support and resources. And I know CARE is doing a lot of that, for instance, during this month. CASV is also doing a lot of that this month as well, because, it's a very broad and, widespread societal concern. These are not just things that impact the UTEP community, but it also impacts, our city as a whole. Mm-hmm. And so having these awareness months helps to, bring those things to light, and then also helps hopefully to connect those individuals to those resources and support.
Absolutely. What kind of support systems are there from your department to the UTEP community?
So the support systems we have relate to really helping individuals to continue to access their education or employment here at UTEP. And we do this in conjunction with Student Affairs. Student Affairs does also help out in providing that support. A lot of times we're kind of like the initial point of contact for individuals. So they'll come to us and we do help to kind of lay the ground for them in terms of what they may be able to request, what kind of support might be available. And then a lot of cases we're also working with Student Affairs to help effectuate that support for those individuals. So we kind of become that initial conduit to the support at times. For individuals, we also try to loop them in with resources within the community as well. And we do have it as a part of our process that, whether or not something even happened to somebody at UTEP, for instance, we always make it a point, and I meant while they were here, like regardless of that, say something happened to somebody many, many years ago with no connection to the institution, but they come here, they're an employee or a student, we still reach out to them to offer to speak to them about resources that we have on campus. We take that very seriously, and we do try to connect with people in that way.
Awesome. Sounds great. So what resources or programs do you offer specifically for college students who may be victims of crimes or have experienced trauma?
Yeah, so again, we function as that conduit, right? And so what we try to inform as best as we can students and employees about is in relation to a number of different resources. So one would be, counseling, for instance, that we offer through CAPS, care in offering victim advocacy as well. We always inform them about law enforcement as well. What can, for instance, all of these different resources on campus be able to do for you potentially, given what's been reported to us. So we try to loop them into those resources, and then we also spend a lot of time talking to individuals on what we call supportive measures. So it's really a right that individuals have under laws that to support, reasonably available support. And so we try to really get that point across to individuals, because somebody may think, well, I know my professor doesn't do this, or I don't believe this is possible. And what we like to tell people is, well, you have a right to whatever is reasonably available, and we can't charge you for that. And so it's not, we do have a set of things listed that could be a type of support in our policy, but really it just has to meet that criterion of, is it reasonably available, and it's not going to be any cost to you. So we try to hone in on that a lot, to open up what could be these different types of support that might be available to an individual, and then try to go over maybe some examples of things that they may need. This thing just happened over the weekend, for instance. You just told me you have, as an example, you told me you have an exam on Monday. Like, would you like for us to reach out to your professor to request absence consideration, to extend your exam, things like that. And so, aside from the resources where we're kind of more referring the individual out, to those resources, we do try to give them a good understanding of what support might be available to them here.
Awesome. So why is it important for anyone to come forward with their experience?
I think it's important because I mean trauma does impact people in different ways. Some individuals may not be comfortable with coming forward immediately after something happens. An individual may wait a year, for instance, but trauma, of course, could have really long-term effects on somebody. I think it's important for somebody to come forward because I think there's a lot of resources here at UTEP. And if an individual comes forward, and it could mean they just ended up reporting it to a professor, not that they necessarily came directly to us, but it opens up the prospect that we could meet with them and we can explain all these things that are about their rights, that are about support and resources that they could have access to. And I really truly believe, along with our culture of care here at UTEP, we have a lot of support. We have a lot of resources available, to these students. In some ways, I think we have more resources and support available here than an individual may actually get outside in the greater community, right? Because it's a much smaller community than, let's say, the entire city. And we do have all these different departments that can help provide that support to them. And so I think that's really important to help that individual, get back on track with their education. Perhaps they want to go through a disciplinary process so that other person could be possibly disciplined as a part of that. The other thing I want to mention that I think sometimes is not well understood by a lot of individuals is that a lot of this is designed to be victim considerate. What I mean by that is that I think people often think that the moment we hear something that, all of a sudden we're gonna be asking them to give an interview, and if they've been traumatized by the experience, they're gonna have to relate that right away and all these things. Really, what we're trying to do is let them know that they have the right to do that, and we're trying to gauge the situation, see what's going on, and try to, let them know that they have the agency to do that if they want to. The other thing I believe that's misunderstood as well is that the information is confidential, typically. So, even when I'm helping somebody request support, I'm not sharing details of the incident with somebody else, and also it's up to the individual what they want to share with us anyways. They may not want to share full details with us, and that's fine. As long as we believe there's a concern there, we are going to try to get that individual the support and let them know what their rights and options. So I think, I hope people will come to understand that we do protect that right to confidentiality, and that we really are trying to alert them to what their rights and support and resources could be for them.
Definitely. Can you discuss any partnerships or collaborations with local or national organizations that enhance your capability and capacity to serve victims and survivors?
We do have a memo of understanding with the Center Against Sexual and Family Violence. We meet with them quarterly to just kind of discuss generally issues that maybe the community is facing. We also try to look at ways that we can perhaps assist each other. And so we do that pretty frequently within the broader community. And then, of course, we work with a lot of our campus partners here at UTEP to, try to bring people as much support and resources as we possibly can.
Awesome. What is the message you want to send to the UTEP students in this Sexual Assault Awareness Month supporting victims and survivors of the violence?
What I would like to, say is that this is a very important month. And I hope if, somebody's listening to this and they need support and resources, that I hope they can, maybe go to one of our departments like CARE or CAPS, but I also really hope that they can maybe come to us and speak to us and understand that we really just want to let them understand what these support and resources and rights might look for them, and that we are trying to, leave a lot of these decisions to that individual, right, to empower them to make the choices that they feel are best for them. And so, I hope maybe this podcast can shed some light on some of those things.
Awesome. So that's kind of a follow-up to the next one. What is one takeaway that you would want the audience to take from this interview as well?
Again, that we provide support and resources to our UTEP community, that we care about making this a safe campus, and that we do care about individuals, maintaining access to their education and their employment. We respond very quickly to things, as quickly as we can, and we will try to meet with you, the second we hear something, but we understand that maybe it's not the right moment for that individual, and we're always here if somebody feels that there's a time they feel comfortable finally talking to us.
Definitely. So lastly, how can we as a campus support your department?
Maybe just spreading some of the things I talked about today, I do believe there are some misconceptions out there maybe about what our office does. And so, perhaps if some of this could be shared with others, maybe people will feel more inclined to come and seek that support, resources, discussion about rights.
Awesome. So there you have it. Thank you so much, Gabriel. And this concludes this episode.
Thank you.